Good evening. Here is the world news from BGI TV, Babagbagede Imo TV. I am Mori Rebila Lawal. First are the major headlines for the world news. Sunday ago, Professor Akintoye, enemy of Nnamdi Kanu Biafra struggle. Half salaries. We are not casual workers, ASUU tells FG. EFCC chairman Bawa sentenced to Kuje prison for disobedience. Aggrieved Lagos bus drivers call off strike. Still on the headlines, ex-commissioner for information dies in fatal accidents. We cannot function without arms, VGN replies FCT Committee on Security. Alleged missing soldier, troops invade Abia community, kill. Many feared killed after gunmen attack police checkpoint in Anambra. And to foreign story. Trump to make very big announcement November 15th. And sports. Etebo Aribo set to return. Now the news in detail. The indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has described the leader of the Ilana Dua, a group championing self-determination for the Yoruba nation, Professor Banji Akintoye, as an enemy of its leader, Nnamdi Kanu. IPOB said Akintoye's remark that Kanu was a noisemaker was an indication of his hatred for the Biafra agitator. Akintoye had described the IPOB leader as a noisemaker while applauding the Yoruba nation agitator Sunday Igboho. The professor had also denied working with Biafra nation agitator Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Reacting, the spokesman of IPOB, Emma Powerful, accused Akintoye of working with enemies of Biafra agitation against Kanu. A statement by Powerful reads partly, "We, the global movement and family of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, under the command and leadership of the great liberator and prophet, Mazi Nnamdi Okechukwu Kanu, condemned the unguided statement from Professor Akintoye during his BBC interview, where he ignorantly referred to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu as a noisemaker while present Sunday Igboho. It's unfortunate that this old man, whom our leader and IPOB hold in high esteem, was stooped so low to speak like a Nigeria paid agent. Professor Akintoye should understand that Kanu is the only man that put fear in the Fulanized government of Nigeria. For him to refer to our leader as a noisemaker shows the level of hatred he has for our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. If Professor Akintoye's boy Sunday Igboho and Yoruba agitators are making noise, Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB are not, we are in serious business in our quest for the restoration of Biafra nation. Moving on as regards the ASUU strike. The Academic Staff Union of ASUU, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, says it is considering challenging the federal government in court for paying its members what it described as so-called pro rata payment for 18 days as October 2022 salaries of academic. The union also said the government's so-called pro rata payment is not only an aberration, but a contravention of all known rules of engagement in any contract of employment for academics worldwide. President of the union, Professor Emmanuel Oshodeke, was at this afternoon after a marathon National Executive Council meeting, which started on Monday and ended early Tuesday morning, argued that members of the union are not casual workers, but intellectuals who cannot be paid on pro rata payments. Although the union leader is silent on whether they would embark on another strike, he however appealed for the understanding of Nigerian students, parents, and other genuinely concerned individuals and groups in the country. Reading the communique issued at the ending of the meeting, Oshodeke said the government's action to pay academics like casual workers is unprecedented in the history of university-oriented labor rotations. This, we believe, as a union of thinkers, intellectuals, and patriots, will not only aid the process of amicable resolution of the crisis, but will also set a tone for smooth industrial relations between the government and Nigerian workers at large. And to the next story as regards EFCC number 1. A High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, in Maitama has convicted the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Abdurrashid Bawa, for contempt of court in relation to his agency's failure to comply with an earlier order of the court. Justice Chizoba Oji, in a ruling, held that the Chairman Economic and Financial Crimes Commission is in contempt of the orders of this Honorable Court made November 24, 2018, directing the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Abuja, to return to the applicant his Range Rover Supercharge and the sum of 40 million naira. Having continued willfully in disobedience to the order of this court, he should be committed to prison at Kuje Correctional Center for his disobedience and continued disobedience of the said order of court made on November 24, 2018, until he purges himself of the contempt. The Inspector General of Police shall ensure that the order of this honorable court is executed forthwith, the judge said. Justice Orji rejected the argument put forward by the lawyer to the EFCC, Francis Jebo, to justify his client's action. The ruling delivered on October 28, a certified true copy CTC of what the nation cited in Abuja on Tuesday, was on a motion on notice marked FCT/HC/M52/2021, filed by the Air Vice Marshal AVM Rufus Adeniyi Ojuawo, a one-time Director of Operations at the Nigerian Air Force, NAV. Ojuawo had in the motion filed by his lawyer RN Ojabo in a suit marked FCT/HC/CR/184/2016 complained that the EFCC declined to comply with the order for the release of his seized property made by the court in a judgment delivered on November 24, 2018. The EFCC had arraigned Ojuawo on a two-count charge before Justice Moiwe Baba Idris of the High Court of the FCT in Iyayan in 2016. From that story, we go to Lagos State. Members of the Joint Drivers Welfare Association of Nigeria, JD1, have called off their industrial action. Its national leader, Akintoye, Chairman, Okwayemi Suleiman, and General Secretary, Ajimature Feishayo, made this announcement yesterday at the Secretariat of the Lagos State Parks and Garages Management, Agege. The trio and two others that spoke lamented the nefarious activities of boys that demanded money from them at every bus stop. They also complained bitterly about extortion by officials of the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority last month, Lagos State Environmental Sanitation and Special Offences Units Task Force and Rapid Response Squad, RRS. According to them, task force officials collect as much as 150,000 naira whenever any of their vehicles were impounded. They said the union leaders in their various parks neglected them to their fate anytime security agency arrest them. Chairman of Lagos State Parks and Garages Management, Alhaji Musiliu Akintoye, aka MC Oluomo, has set up a task force team comprising 10 branch chairmen, 9 members of the JD1, and others nominees from the chairman of Committee of Lagos State Parks Administration, Oba Suleiman Adeshino Ashode, the Oniba of Iba, to read the bus stops of the offending boys. Akintoye said the task force has a month ultimatum to clear the mess. He promised to liaise with the State Commissioner for Transportation and Special Advisor on Transportation to nip the illegal activities of the last man and task force in the ward. Moving to the next story on the world news. A former Commissioner of Information and Strategy of Niger State, Danladi Indeyabo, is dead. Politics Nigeria learned that Indeyabo, a former editor of Leadership newspaper and erstwhile spokesperson to the ex-governor of Niger State, Muhammad Babangida Aliyu, was involved in a road accident alongside his friend Mohammed Isa. While Isa is recuperating in the hospital, the former Niger State official later gave up the ghost. Journalist Abdulaziz confirmed the sad news on Monday night. He wrote on his verified Facebook page, "He called me 24 hours ago. On answering, he said, 'Hold on for Mohammed Isa.' I thought it was our usual banters. So I tried joking about it before he now said, Abdulaziz Mohammed needs help. We just had an accident." The seriousness in his voice said it all, and it was atypical of Danladi Indeyabo. Then in the background, I could hear Mohammed writing in pain. I was numbed and began to scrambling for who to call. I called him by Kanda and shared with him Danladi's contact. I would speak with him about 4 times in between work, keeping tab on them until 10:06 p.m. when someone other than Danladi answered. I didn't imagine anything ominous or as unconcerned were Mohammed, who was apparently more armed. Please join us in prayers for the repose of Danladi's soul and Mohammed's quick recovery, please. It concluded. Moving on to the next story on EFCC. The Vigilante Group of Nigeria (VGN) has reacted to the circular by the Federal Capital Territory (FCT) Security Committee, which banned vigilante groups in the FCT from carrying arms, noting that it cannot function without arms. Its Commander General, Navy Captain A.B. Umar Bakori, retired, who disclosed these while addressing a press conference in Abuja over the weekend, said the group had put measures in place to check impersonation, noting that it would not allow dubious elements to hide under its credible name to perpetrate any form of criminality. He noted that the VGN has been collaborating with the military and other security and intelligence agencies to rid the country of terrorism and other emergent security matters. He said, "The circular is not made for us. I read the circular from the FCT Committee on Security. It was about Committee Vigilante. We are a registered national organization with the Corporate Affairs Commission. This is our certificate of incorporation. This is a proof of our corporate and legitimate existence. This is our original certificate and we are national. This is also the certificate for our trademark. Our logo is also certificated, and this headquarters is the one recognized by the CAC. We assist all the security operatives in this country. Our members carry arms in the northeast, northwest, and southeast." We'll go to the next story in Abia. Soldiers of 14th Brigade Nigeria Army, or AFIA, Abia State, was reported to have on Thursday last week invaded Amago community in Oafia local government area over alleged missing of a soldier on leave. Over 10 people were alleged to have been killed and 50 houses reported to have been razed by the ravaging soldiers. It was gathered that a soldier who was on leave had visited his village, Unku, in Cross River State, and on his way back allegedly got missing at the border between Amuma, Oafia, and Amago, about 3 kilometers from Amago. In the process of searching for the said missing soldiers, troops from the brigade were reported to have invaded Amago community. The soldiers were said to have shot sporadically, forcing natives to run helter-skelter for their dear lives. The invading soldiers were reported to have arrested many of the natives, some of whom were yet to be seen. Some of the natives who fled from the onslaught of the invading soldiers into the adjoining bushes and villages were yet to return home, as the troops of occupation are said to still be laying siege in the devastated community. Moving to the next story. There is tension in Anambra State following the attack on a police checkpoint Tuesday by gunmen. It was learned that some people are feared dead while others are reportedly injured. The incident happened at about 10:30 a.m. between the Ihala-Uli axis in Ihala local government area. The attack forced drivers and commuters to run for their lives as the gunmen shot non-stop. According to reports, security operatives removed their uniforms and took cover in nearby bushes and houses. The Onitsha-Owerri Expressway had been abandoned as of the time of filing these reports. In case you're just joining, you are watching the world news from BGI TV. Next to come is the foreign story. Former President of the United States, Donald Trump, said he would be making a very big announcement next week amid talks that he was expected to jump into the race for the White House in 2024. Trump, who has never accepted the truth of his lost re-election bid in 2020, has hinted for months that he was ready to re-enter the fray. Speaking to a cheering crowd in Ohio on Monday, the eve of U.S. polls, which will determine control of Congress, Trump said he would make the big announcement in Florida next Tuesday. Not to detract from tomorrow's very important, even critical election, I'm going to be making a very big announcement on Tuesday, November 15 at Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida, he said. The trail was the closest the Republican has got to confirming his intention to run, building on his message last week that he will very probably do it again. And to end the world news this hour is a sports story. Midfielder or Genekaro Etebo is poised to be recalled back to the Super Eagles squad for the forthcoming friendly against Portugal in Lisbon, our correspondent has reliably gathered. Etebo has played and scored in Eagles' record 10-0 win over Sao Tome and Principe in June, but missed the friendly against Algeria in September due to his inactiveness at club level. However, the 26-year-old has since sorted out his club career, as he is now playing regular first-team football at Greek club Aris Saloniki after a difficult time in England with Stoke City and Watford. The Olympic bronze medalist, who has been capped 44 times and has 3 goals at international level, is expected to be joined by Southampton midfielder Joe Aribo, who asked to be excused from the Eagles' 2-1 loss to Algeria in September. It was also learned that Rivers United left back Ebube Duru and goalkeeper Victor Sochima also made a team for the high-profile friendly. In form, Napoli striker Victor Osimhen will lead the Eagles' attack in the encounter, bearing any last-minute injuries, while the likes of Alex Iwobi, captain, Ahmed Musa, William Truss Ekong, Moses Simon, Ademola Lookman, and Wilfred Ndidi are expected to feature as well. Meanwhile, the General Secretary of the Nigeria Football Federation, Mohamed Sanusi, said Eagles coach Jose Peseiro has compiled his list of players for the upcoming international friendly against Portugal. That ends the world news this hour. Before we go, some major headlines. Sunday Igboho, Professor Akintoye, enemy of Nnamdi Kanu, the Afro struggle. App salaries, we are not casual workers, ASUU tells FG. We're also brought to you that EFCC Chairman Bawa sentenced to Kuje prison for disobedience. And lastly on sports, Etebo Aribo set to return to Super Eagles. For more update on our handles on Instagram, Bagede Imo _22, on Facebook, Bagede Imo with Alawiye Adebayo. And for more update on advert placement of your goods and services, coverage of events and function, please dial the phone number streaming on your screen for advert placement only. Thank you for watching. I am Morire Rabila Lawal. Good evening.
Oh, na, na, na. If you want to know what's going on in city, or you want to listen to the latest news and gist, no stress, oh, just tune to BGI TV. BGI TV, you're one in a million. Oh, na na na. If you want to know